Alright, wise guys, I see you in the comments section. We're always fighting, we're always debating about which car brand is better amongst the high-end Germans, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Lexus shows up to the party as well, and we're all a bunch of assholes just arguing about what's better, giving our own anecdotal evidences. Well, how about for a change we look at some hard numbers? Hard numbers from JD Power. They seem pretty notable, they're big, they've got a lot of raw data. We're going to look at vehicle dependability, and guess what? We're going to be surprised. I was surprised. I think you will too. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. We are on the JD Power Ratings and Research Car Division, their website right here, and we're specifically looking at the Vehicle Dependability Study. Now this study, that comes out every year among others of course, but this one specifically surveys the current owners of current 3-year-old models, and they ask them about the problems that they've experienced within the last 12 months of ownership of that 3-year-old car. And then the numbers are presented in the format of problems per 100 vehicles. So say if the number is 250 assigned to a specific brand, well that means there's 250 problems recorded per 100 vehicles. Now we can divide the numbers even further and we can get 250 divided by 100, which means 2.5 problems per vehicle on average from that brand in that last current year of ownership. You see what I mean? I hope you do. If you don't, you should be taking the bus. Or I should be working on my English. In case I'm explaining this like an idiot, you can just read it on the website here, what they're talking about. It's pretty clear. So for example, I'm going to show you what their findings look like when they publish them. I'm going to open up a file here. So here we have the 2004 study. Now because the study came out in 2004, remember we're talking about 3-year-old models, so this would be reflective of the 2001 models being reported on in 2004. So we have this list here, blah 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 blah, from lowest to biggest, Land Rover, Lexus, no surprise there, and we get the industry average. They publish this list, we all get to absorb it. So I took it upon myself to collect data from all of the yearly publishings of this millennium, and here are the results. So here we see the raw data in this corner, and here we see the chart. Now at first glance, I know it's messy, but hold on, let's have a look. We'll go through this and it's going to become much clearer. We see Mercedes-Benz is blue, Audi is green, and BMW is red. So here we have our chart. On the x-axis we have the years. These are the years that the study came out in, not the actual model years. Maybe I should have changed that. So here, 2003 is actually the year 2000 model years, and 2018 on the other end here is actually 2015. These are the latest numbers that came out. So between 2000 and 2015, this current millennium, we're looking at who's most and least reliable. And here, on the y-axis, we have problems per 100 vehicles. So 100, blah, 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 350. And as we can see here, in the early 2000s, and this is no surprise, I suppose, the problems were much higher than as of late. They've been more than cut in half, pretty much. They're half as problematic as they used to be, and they've got more tech than they used to have. That's a good sign overall. But who's the best here? Well, let's see who's actually got the record of having the most problems for any given year. That unfortunate title goes to Mercedes-Benz at 2004, so in reality in 2001, they had a reported 327 issues per 100 cars. That's bad. Audi lower and BMW lower. You know what? This is what surprised me. During the 2000s, BMW, as you can see here, they kicking Mercedes and Audi's ass. Like, you see this line, it's much lower than the other ones. I hope, in case you're not following along, the lower this is to 0, the better. In these 16 data points that we have, 16 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Audi is the least reliable in 7 of those years. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercedes is the least reliable in 4 of those years. And 1, 2, 3, 4. BMW is the least reliable. So it seems that Audi, and this is no surprise, I kind of felt this, seems to be, so far, looking at this, the least reliable between the 3. Here's another thing, and this is just in terms of the volume of problems reported, right? We'd also have to measure the severity of each problem. So say one brand only had one problem and another brand had three problems. Well, those three problems in that second brand may be way less severe than the one problem in the first brand. You know what I mean? And check this out. While Mercedes does hold the record of being the least reliable in the year 2001, they also hold the record for being most reliable in a large chunk of time here, 2007 and 2012. Not bad. They hold the record for least amount of problems reported between the three brands, and that would go, so it says 2014. So in 2011, 104 problems reported per 100 vehicles. That's not bad. And it's been downhill ever since, unfortunately. But you know what? This is still pretty good. As we can see in the last few years, the brands have been pretty darn close. And as of the latest numbers, which is 2018, we can see that BMW is once again supreme. At 127 problems per 100 cars reported, it's better than Audi's at 141 and and Mercedes at 147. But it's pretty tight. Like, look how wide it used to be in the 2000s. And now they've really consolidated. They're pretty close to each other. They're quite competitive. So let's get a little analytical here. Let's find out the averages of this millennium. Who is the winner? Well, and I have these numbers here. Look at this. I know how to use Excel. Mercedes, an average of 182 problems per 100 vehicles. BMW, 173. And Audi at 197. Folks, as far as the millennium's concerned, BMW, BMW is the winner. There. I was reluctant, but they're kicking ass. However, in this current decade, it's Mercedes that takes the crown and they're kicking ass. Look at this. When we look at from 2010 and up, so on these results it would be 2013 till now, 2018, we can see that Mercedes is averaging 125. BMW is averaging 136 and Audi at 144. Dramatic improvements, of course, we can see by the chart, but we see that Mercedes is the winner. It's the smartest choice as far as volume of reliability issues. Not bad. Is there anything that Audi wins? No, but honestly, especially as of late, the numbers are pretty close between the brands. So this is interesting. This should shed some light on the whole matter, but of course that's not it, because you might be thinking, okay, so we know who's the, I guess, generally most reliable among the three, but they're still all pretty shit compared to the industry. I mean, look at these, especially up here. We're talking about over 300 problems per 100 vehicles. Even up here, you might be thinking, wow, look at all these problems being reported, you know. So what, that one might be better than the other on this chart, but they're still terrible cars to own. Well, hold on, smart guys. I'm going to throw in the industry average. And let's compare these brands to the industry average. And mind you, let's remember this. What does the industry average mean? That means everything else. That means your Hyundais, your Mitsubishis, your Nissans, your... what else is there? The other pedestrian stuff. And these other regular cars, this also means for them that they're more basic. They're simpler cars, less moving parts, less elaborate, less luxurious, less sporty, less things that should be breaking, right? So that means these cars should be way, way below the industry average, rightfully so. You might be thinking, this is where the big surprise comes. Check this out. Let's manipulate this chart a little. Alright, so the industry average is purple. This chart's getting a little messy, but look at this. Do you see how that industry average is tucked nicely within the range of all these other numbers? This is a big surprise, folks. How the hell is it that your typical Hyundai or Honda is not way outperforming and having way less problems than these German complicated monsters? This is what we got to look at. Let's look at these manufacturers individually compared to the industry average, because this is pretty neat actually. This gets even better. So let's take the industry average and let's compare it to what I determined anyway. I mean, this is what the numbers are saying as the least reliable amongst the Germans, Audi, which is still pretty good, and this chart will show it. Here we have Audi as green, and the industry average, filled with all the other boring junk out there, as purple. Look at this. 2012, 2013, 2014. So check this out, everybody. In the last 4 years, Audi's been less problematic than your basic ass Kias and Hondas. I mean, this is pretty good. Alright, in the early 2000s, we can see they were less reliable. That's supposed to be the case. It's exceptionally amazing that Audi is doing better than the industry average. And this is the worst of them, remember? So let's have a look at benzos. Alright, let's compare Mercedes to the average, whatever else there is. Alright, so Mercedes purple, average blue, not the best colors, but we get this. We're smart guys. So, okay, early years, Mercedes. Yeah, early 2000s, of course, avoid. Hey, 2003, which is the S-Class that I was doing a video on, big improvements came. We can see that big drop here. So here, look at this. Over the last almost 10 years, Mercedes-Benz has been reporting less issues than these basic cars, which have almost nothing in them. That is impressive. Okay, so for the very last year, right now, 2015, that came out in 2018 for the 2018 study, we can see a final reversal where Mercedes just creeped up and became slightly less reliable than your typical car. We've got the industry average at 142, Mercedes at 147. Pretty close. But this chart is very impressive. This is very, very impressive. Now, of course, let's compare the crown king, I suppose, of this millennium, BMW. Beamer bros are feeling clever. Oh boy, stand by. Alrighty, look at this. For all the crap that you hear, especially about BMWs that I hear, it's actually amazing. In more years than not, BMW has had less problems reported per car than the industry average. Out of these 16 data points, 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 out of the 16 data points, BMW has reported more problems than the average junk car. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So take that industry average. I did say that Lexus shows up sometimes, and we have to acknowledge them, and we know it's about to happen. We may as well do this. It's gonna hurt, and it's gonna remind us that, well, yeah, there is the ultimate better choice. But, you know, let's have a look. We have to do this. I'm sorry, gentlemen. We're going to introduce Lexus into the mix. You know what? No, we're going to bring everybody back. We're going to bring everybody in. So all the three Germans, the average, and Lexus, what is this going to look like? A jumbled mess, yes, but we're going to read it. Oh, boy. Yeah. These are the numbers, folks. Just kind of take that all in. If you're feeling clever at one point, well, let this be a reminder who is number one. Hey, they used to make boring cars. Now they're pretty damn good. I have a lot of respect for this brand, and I've come to like a lot of their models. Look at this. We have all three of the cars. We got the industry average in purple again, just in there. But look at Lexus. Just lower by a lot every single year. Just destroying the competition. Destroying. And while we know while I was crowning Mercedes with that record low that one year with only 104 problems, well, that same year, Lexus was at 68 per 100 vehicles. Wow. And of course, we should give Lexus a moment. Let's compare them strictly to the industry average. Here we have the average, and here we have Lexus. But anyway, like I said, Lexus, get the hell out of here. This is not about you. We already know you're better. You're just not as fun as, you know. So to summarize, for this current millennium as a whole, BMW is the best in the business. For the 2000s, let's just look at the 2000s. So 0s to 09, BMW, best in the business. 195 problems, Audi 229, Mercedes 216. Kicked ass. However, for the 2010s, the current generation, it's Mercedes coming in with the better reliability. And of course, Lexus coming to spoil everything. But there you have it, folks. This is pretty insightful if you ask me. presented well, I hope. And it gets more interesting too. Now we have to remember, this is reliability as far as the third year of ownership, right? Going farther down the line,